It's the 21st of December and I'm here sharing about occurrences in Tralee, County Kerry with regard to violations of human rights. Since 2017 I've been contacting civil liberty agencies and human rights agencies with regard to the constitutional wrongdoings. These uploads are a daily share for the relevant agencies to understand a little bit better the predicament that's occurring. The issues that have been caused in this town are very serious, as I keep stating. What I find very serious is that the authorities that have turned a blind eye and have what would seem to be a little bit of, how could you say this as carefully as possible, but I have to choose my words because there's individuals that are still threatening me and threatening my rights and threatening my entitlements. So basically, as I said, Friday was a difficult day. There's been very serious abuses occurring, and as a teacher and as a mother and as a deserted wife, I find it very serious that authorities are not addressing the problems that are being caused. These matters, as I've stated, have involved inviolability of my dwellings. In the years between 2007 and 2015, my family home was trespassed. In 2016, my marital home was trespassed. Also, private accommodation that I was living in was also trespassed. My personal belongings were stolen from me. My personal and private information was accessed, and I know who the culprits are. The same people have endangered loved ones of mine. The authorities are fully aware, and so are the politicians. The injustices and the violations being perpetrated are being intentionally ignored. I've also stated how my legal rights have been violated as a victim of medical negligence that suffers on a daily basis. My right to amend those injustices with regards to my health has been prevented. My marital rights have been prevented or obstructed. As a deserted wife that married with the best of intentions and that was having a family and that has been deserted and defamed, my right and my marriage has been also violated. With regard to the defamation of my character and reputation in Tralee, County Kerry, my legal right to correct the damage done to my character and good name have also been violated. My right to seek assistance in the midst of all of this chaos that has been caused with human rights violations and hate crime has been obstructed by individuals perpetrating insanity in society due to their greed and maliciousness. The harm done to innocents I find very, very upsetting. I find it very serious that politicians and authorities have ignored my concerns. I find it very serious that ombudsmen have ignored what is being perpetrated against innocents. I find it very serious that people are taking it lightly about what's being done to innocents. As a law-abiding citizen, for individuals just to be saying what they want and making the false claims that they're making is very dangerous and very serious. So with regard to politicians facilitating this obstruction of justice and human rights violations, I wonder, do they realise how upsetting, to say the least, it is for innocent life to be so dangerously and maliciously endangered by individuals that have damaged so much and have stolen so much. As a person, woman, mother, deserted wife, etc., living in HAPS accommodation, the individuals that have threatened my human rights and my constitutional rights because of their own ill-serving agendas, after they have gained what they have gained from my contributions to society, I've had to clean up a lot of messes, other people's messes. I've jumped oceans for people that haven't even been prepared to jump a pond for me. I've had people lying about me and defaming me and stealing from me. So as Christmas draws near, and as a deserted wife and mother, I hope that the authorities and the politicians know how serious, sad and sinister this entire situation is. Because Mr. Brendan Howlin only earlier this year espoused the importance of the role of family in society. I find it very serious that all governmental ministers that I've contacted have not regarded my concerns about the role of family in society as an issue that the government is obligated to confront due to the vendetta of hate crime that has been orchestrated based on falsehoods, false information, and the most outrageous tactics of foul play, and that's all I can describe it as. This is absolutely shameful for any county in Ireland to be experiencing. My marital rights matter. I've been betrayed and I've been cheated and I've been lied to and I've been defamed and I've been stolen from. And what has been stolen from me is very precious. And for those people that I have helped and for those people that have recovered from how I have helped them, have completely disrespected the entire mentality of goodwill that any respectable citizen would acknowledge. So for the politicians and the authorities that are prioritising ill-gotten gains above their integrity and their decency and their respectability, I hope they understand how serious this all is. And I keep saying it every day, but for what was stolen from me, I can't say how much the government of Ireland owes me. Because as a law-abiding citizen and as an honest individual, to be disrespected as a mother and as a wife and as a teacher and a humanitarian, I think there's a very serious, shameful situation being caused. And what I find most upsetting is that the people being facilitated in their thieving and lying and cheating have been facilitated from the commencement of their initial wrongdoings. There hasn't been any confrontation, there hasn't been any acknowledgement, and there hasn't been any regard or respect shown to a victim of hate crime and constitutional wrongdoings that has been suffering unjustifiably due to other people's greed and malice. But as I've also said, this hasn't only just affected me. There's other innocent individuals in this situation that are being wronged, abused, and violated for no reason. So as it's the 21st of December and we're approaching Christmas, and as a victim of hate crime and a survivor of revenge porn that I have not forgotten about, that the authorities still have not acknowledged and confronted, while these abuses against me are still being perpetrated by individuals that have only recently come good with their behaviour and conduct but still have not been able to rectify the damages that they've done is just another sign of hypocrisy in this entire situation. So the authorities that are aware of the damage done, I hope that it's not too late to save and protect and prioritise the well-being of the victims of those aggressing women's rights, children's rights and human rights. These uploads are to clarify how sinister this situation is, the violation of my privacy and the defamation of my character and the criticisms that I'm experiencing are just only despicable. There hasn't been a single individual prepared to confront me about the damages that have been done. I have emailed Leo Varadkar since 2017. I get automated responses from the Taoiseach of Ireland with regard to the constitutional wrongdoings that I've experienced. The Ombudsman have not acknowledged the damages either. There's been very serious offences perpetrated, and for the government to be facilitating those offences, I just wonder, have they any idea of what has happened? The individual that's been facilitated, or individuals being facilitated in this entire campaign, have destroyed and disrespected the constitution of this country. They've disrespected the pillars of society that are to uphold the safety and integrity of all citizens of this country. So for what has been stolen from me, which has been very precious, I'm very upset with society for lying, for damaging, for abusing and for violating that which they had no authority to ever even interfere with. So when people decide to cause wrongdoings, and when people disrespect the Constitution, and when people decide to withhold information, and when they decide to abuse information, and when they withhold the truth of a situation, such as what is happening in this matter, I hope they're aware, after all that has happened, with the abuse of revenge porn that I experienced, the violations that I've experienced, the financial abuse and theft and exploitation that I've experienced, I sincerely hope that the government knows how much it owes me, because the withholding of information, as well as what else has been withheld from me unjustifiably, and the false information that has been presented, and the fact that my legal rights have been conveniently obstructed and withheld from me, I'm just wondering, have the United Nations that I have been contacting since 2017 when this vendetta was first perpetrated, as well as the other offences over a decade ago, I'm wondering, have the human rights agencies any conscience about the innocence that's been damaged in this town unjustifiably? Have they any regard for the 29 human rights violations that the culprits that I am fully aware of have endangered in society? There's been such foul play, there's been so many falsehoods, that this entire embarrassing situation won't bring any good to anyone, with all the damage done and with the lies told. So last night I addressed my upload to the women of Dáil Éireann with regard to being a mother and a deserted wife and a professional teacher that has been damaged and defamed in a society, community that isn't prepared to confront what harm it has caused. Today, my message is to the human rights agencies and regarding the 29 human rights violations and the dangers that have been caused for me and my loved ones as a consequence of the bad behaviour being perpetrated. So as a victim of medical negligence, hate crime and violations, etc., I'm wondering, have the UN any respect for their obligations against aggressors of human rights? The aggression an abuse of human rights as very serious in a modern society, and this is supposed to be a democracy. Now, the people lying about me and causing problems for me obviously have no understanding of what has been stolen from me. And I think as a mother and as a teacher and as a woman, I think it's very serious for any other women in any society or community that is espousing respectability, propriety and progress and spirituality like what has been espoused in this town and county since the spiritual violence was perpetrated against me. Have they any idea? It's very serious. So the United Nations, I'm aware that the assistance I require is being obstructed. I'm also aware of the other culprits that have ill intentions and that have caused danger for me and my loved ones. This situation is very obvious. My legal rights have been ignored and violated intentionally. So I'm just wondering, have the authorities in this situation any understanding of how serious it is to be wronging an innocent, law-abiding citizen that has helped other women that have been harmed and that has supported other children that have been endangered? I'm just wondering, what kind of a mentality is it in a town like Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland, for this kind of a problem to be caused? Political brownie points aren't going to be gained by destroying an innocent woman, and there's definitely not going to be any positive outcomes for destroying innocence. So I'm just wondering, are local authorities that are aware of these uploads prepared to confront the wrongdoings, the constitutional wrongdoings, and are they prepared to acknowledge what kind of the marks on society when this kind of a lie and deceitful situation is perpetuated and exacerbated with worse wrongdoings? I'm wondering, have the authorities any regard for me and my family? I'm wondering, have lawyers, human rights lawyers, and the United Nations that I have contacted with valid concerns with regard to human rights being violated in Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland, have ye any conscience about the consequences in ignoring this kind of a situation due to other people's prowess and malice? So there's 29 human rights violations after occurring. I've been in contact with the World Health Organization due to the medical negligence that's been perpetrated. So I'm fully aware of the power players that are playing games with my livelihood, and I'm aware of the expense that people have gone to and the trouble that they have caused to exacerbate these offences that they've caused. As a victim support groups should be supporting and assisting myself and my loved ones, but that has been obstructed intentionally by individuals that have manipulated the situation and have been very dishonest and have caused very serious harm. So for what has been precious to me and for what has been taken from me unjustifiably, I hope that the United Nations, particularly the women in society, all understand how serious this is. So as Christmas approaches, I wish everyone a happy Christmas, and as regards happiness and good fortune and goodwill during the festive season, I hope people are thinking at the same time of those that are being so very seriously damaged and violated.